torpedoes slammed into the hull of the USS Oklahoma, exactly in the spot where the battleship Missouri is today. Oklahoma began to tilt, and in less than 12 minutes, she had completely rolled over, only stopping when her masts hit the bottom of the harbor. She had taken as many as 8 torpedo hits on her port or left side. This was a crippling blow, and consequently 429 sailors and Marines were lost on the Oklahoma. A memorial dedicated to these men was erected on the shoreline, where many of her crew first set foot on Hawaiian soil years ago. The West Virginia, Tennessee, Maryland, California, and Pennsylvania were all damaged to varying degrees during the attack, losing almost 250 crew members among them. Despite sustaining serious damage and settling to the harbor floor following the attack, the West Virginia and California were salvaged and put back into service as well. Both of them would play a vital role in the coming conflict in the Pacific. On December 7, 1941, the USS Arizona was moored here next to the USS Vestal, a smaller repair ship. At 7:55 a.m., the ship's air raid alarm went off, and the ship soon went to general quarters, the call for all hands to go to their battle stations immediately. For the next 10 minutes, the men of the Arizona endured strafing from incoming Japanese planes and bombs from Nakajima B-5N Kate torpedo bombers, which carried armor-piercing shells modified into 800-kilogram or 1,750-pound bombs. At 8:06 a.m., a fatal blow struck the Arizona. The Japanese bomb cut through the deck in the vicinity of gun turret number 2, which would have been about 200 feet to the left of the memorial. Seconds later, it detonated the ammunition magazines located in the forward section of the ship. The result was a massive explosion that tore the ship in half and set up a fire that burned for more than 2 days and consumed 1,177 members. All the lives lost during the attack. This includes every member of the heralded USS Arizona Band, 23 sets of brothers, and even the father of his son. The mighty Arizona was just over 600 feet long in her day, about the length of 2 American football fields. Although she would never be returned to service, 2 of Arizona's gun turrets were salvaged for later use as coastal defenses. On December 6, 1941, just 1 day before the attack, the USS Arizona had taken on almost 1.4 million gallons of fuel oil in preparation for an upcoming trip to the mainland. Much of that oil caught fire and burned following the attack. However, the fuel that remains slowly leaks from the wreckage at a rate of about 1 to 2 gallons per day. The National Park Service and the U.S. Navy carefully monitor the site, but at this time, the oil leakage poses no environmental hazard. The Arizona Survivors Association has referred to these surfacing drops of oil as the black tears of the Arizona. Although there is no way of knowing how long the oil will seep out, many believe that the ship will continue to cry these black tears until the last survivor of the USS Arizona passes on. The USS Arizona Memorial is 184 feet long and is suspended directly over, but not touching, the wreckage of the USS Arizona. It was completed in 1962 and dedicated on Memorial Day that year. The designer and architect was Alfred Price, who created 3 main parts: the entry room, assembly room, and shrine room. You'll notice that the memorial has 2 peaks on each end and sags in the center. Mr. Price stated that his design represented American pride before the attack, the sudden depression that followed it, and America's eventual rise to victory at the end of the war. At the very back of the memorial, nearest to Ford Island, is the shrine room. Covering its back wall are the names of 1,177 American servicemen who died on board. That is the largest loss of life of any ship in American naval history. Two separate sections display the names of USS Arizona survivors who later chose to be returned to the ship following their passing. Any surviving crew member of the USS Arizona who was assigned to the ship on December 7th can elect to have their ashes placed within the wreck. To date, over 40 men have already rejoined their shipmates on board. It's important to remember that this wasn't just an attack on Pearl Harbor. It was an attack on all of Oahu. 15 minutes before the assault here, Japanese aircraft struck all the military airfields around the island and neutralized American air power. Within the next 15 minutes, they neutralized American naval power here as well. This devastating blow cost the Japanese 29 planes and 56 airmen. On December 7, 1941, Pearl Harbor witnessed the dawn of a new era. As World War II came to American shores, men and women fought and died side by side. Many of them remain in these waters and in the surrounding landscapes for eternity. We, the living, are left to understand their story, remember their sacrifice, and honor their memory. As we return to the visitor center, we ask that you remain seated as the U.S. Navy brings the boat to the dock. If you have any questions, please find a park ranger or volunteer here at the visitor center, and they'll be happy to answer your questions. On behalf of the National Park Service and the U.S. Navy, thank you for visiting Pearl Harbor. We hope you enjoy the remainder of your visit and wish you farewell.